Hi, I love this chair. It's a great thinking chair, and when I'm here with my parents, um, for some reason, this really helps. I don't know why. So this is the chair I recorded some episodes of the Moths of Programming in, for example. And if you look on my YouTube, you might dig out, not that you will, but there are some videos that go back, 10, 15 years, um, that were in this very chair as well, in this room. So, anyway, the thing I'm thinking about is about being a creator. These days, there's a lot of um, fuss about being a creator. Now, of course, there are many kinds of creators as well, aren't there? There are creators who do things sort of professionally, and amateur creators. And when you talk about creators, though, you often think about people with YouTube channels. This is a big issue if you have a creative sort of side to yourself that you wish to express. And obviously, I'm one of those people, who does want to express themselves. And I've been doing that on and off for 15 plus years. And the thing is that it's very easy to get caught in the question of why are you doing it. It's like, why am I doing this one, for example? I've been thinking a lot about this recently, and part of the problem is that we have a habit, at least I do, and I think this may be true of other people, the habit of engaging in this kind of thing with a view in mind of people are going to watch this, And then you remember the early days of YouTube. You put the video up, and then you look at how many people watching. Oh, somebody else has watched this video. Eventually, you can sort of get over it. But with getting over it, it's like I'm a lot less prolific these days, as you might see. I mean, why is it I don't put out more content? And ultimately, it's because I'm wrestling with my own demon, with the demon of what's the point of it if so few people are going to, see it compared with the channels that, the algorithm sends me. And sometimes it is the algorithm's intention to sort of depress and humiliate all other creators, in the sense that if anybody who starts out with a YouTube channel now, and all they see are these people who put out a video, and then like within one day they've had 1 million views, and it's like, oh, but it's all, it's a lottery. Get your ticket. I think one thing that's often not appreciated is that some channels, I'm thinking in terms of Mr. Carlson's Lab, which I do like. I like Mr. Carlson's Lab because it's genuine. There's zero. It's sincere. There is zero pretense there. Zero pretense. It's so pure, and that is a joy, and that's why I like to watch Mr. Carlson's Lab. And the thing is, he's been going at that for years and years and years, and had a dedication to it, even though his videos are not that frequent, but he's had a dedication to it. And he's ramping up apparently. It should be very interesting. And I've always loved electronics, as I started with that when I was a kid. You know, I was interested in electronics. Another one is Fran Lab, and she's been doing her channel for, I think it's been going for like 12 years. And it's not a huge channel, but you stick with it, and you're dedicated to it, and hats off to those people who've been able to do it. I haven't been able to maintain it. I just, you know, and at a certain point it just gets to me that, you know, I could put a lot of work into something. And so the singles are like that right now. Hey, the last single that I put out, Lottery, that took a huge amount of work, a stupid amount of work for a 3.5 minute song, you know. And I'm going all the time I'm doing it, I'm going, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? I'm trying. One of the things I found that helped is to have an idea of who the boss is, as in I'm doing this for someone. Because if you're doing something for yourself, you know, and sometimes it's hard work, and sometimes you want to do something else. It's hard to motivate yourself. You know, at least I find that. It's like, why am I doing this again? Why have I spent the last sort of 3 weeks working every night to mix this song? Um, and you know, it helps if you invent someone to so that you're working for. So I work for the song, and the thing is, then you get so embroiled in it. I just don't know anymore what the song is, whether the song is happy or not. You know, and it's like, is the song happy? Did I do a good job, song? Um, and you plow through it, and you plow through it, and in the end somehow I ended up happy enough with the mix, and then I had to redo the video, because the original video I've had for like 2 years, and a lot more footage is available on Storyblocks. It's getting easier to put those videos together now because there's more video footage. A couple of years ago it was really a real stretch sometimes to try and cobble together a video. But anyway, I did all of that and I put it out, and then I haven't listened to it. I listened to it earlier on today on my phone, and I went, okay. I think the ending of the video is a bit weak, but yeah, maybe it works. Maybe the song's happy. The song is in charge. Incidentally, I'm got a kind of plan. What I'm doing with those now is that I'll do the song with a video and then release that first, and then only if I'm happy with the mastering sufficiently with that test environment on the video and so on, then I'll release it to you know, on via CD Baby, on all your favorite streaming services, which actually means just Spotify. I mean, I get emails regularly from Apple Music. You know, they come in. These emails show me how my songs are doing on Apple Music, and it's always there. There are two sections. There's just the normal Apple Music thing, and then Shazam's, believe it or not. And it's like, really incredible. And they come in, and it's almost always a big zero and a big zero. You know, it's like, what? It's like Apple Music. At least I got, like, last time I checked, it was like 20 monthly listeners on Spotify. Hey, and you know what? it's important to get over that. I do it for the songs. I'm not really even doing it for the audience. I mean, if an audience comes, that's all well and good. Did you see a lot of the things in nature? And I think it's useful to look at nature because nature is a product of evolution. We're a product of evolution. The patterns in nature are also the patterns within ourselves, right? So think about how that works. Spiders make their spider webs to catch food. Do they always work? I don't know. You can imagine the spider makes the thing and it's just sitting there day after day after day and no customers. And then their customer comes along. And it's dealt with. Oh, it flowers. The flower opens. It says, I'm ready, bring on the bees. And the flower might not last very long. If you got like a morning glory, a very long time ago, I used to grow them. Morning glory would flower in the morning. And I don't know, did they close up for the afternoon or did they die? I don't know. But I was thinking in terms of flowers that flower not very long. They may be okay. They have their shop is open, shop is shut. They open up the next day. I can't remember, to be honest. But anyway, the point is there's a limited period of time that the flower is available to provide its service to an insect looking for that. Yes, but the flowers don't. Oh, nobody's coming. I think an increasingly interesting problem for flowers these days. There seems to be an incredible drop in the number of insects, but I digress. The point is that they just do it. And I don't think I'm ever going to really be happy until I'm able to get into that space where I do me. And there is no point to it. Because ultimately, there's no point to life. It is pointless. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I think it's an incredibly positive way of looking at life. Why does there need to be a point to everything? When you look at so many things that we do as human beings, can we really say that everything that we do is done with a point? Think about it. What's the point of football? I mean, seriously, was anything done? There's a lot of effort put into football. Soccer, for any American people. Association football. I'm talking about. We just had the World Cup, which I almost completely ignored, I have to admit. But is that really that surprising? But anyway, it's a lot of effort, isn't it? A huge amount of effort put in for kicking a ball around a field. There is no point to it. Just like there's no point to playing a musical instrument, actually. But we invent the point, don't we? And society invents the point. We invent a point. Why? There's a mechanic involved in there, but if you think about it, having a point for doing things kind of destroys the fun. It's like What's the point of a career? Oh, that one's easy. It's like you have to earn a living. What's the point of earning a living? So that you can live comfortably. What's the point of living comfortably? So that you live a long life. What's the point of living? I mean, you could carry on like that, you know. So you live a life without pain, live a life in comfort. But for there to be a point, you need to be able to always answer that question. At a certain point, you reach a point where there is no point. And when you reach the point where there is no point, then what? You have a kind of crisis. What's the point of making a YouTube video? It's not the point. There is no point to making a YouTube video. We'd all like the idea, you know, oh yeah, I can do this and I can devote my time to it. But there's a funny thing about that. There are people who stick to their guns and don't take shortcuts. Like Mr. Carson's lab, Mr. Carlson of this lab, and you know, Fran lab, or Fran lab. See, just two random examples. I'm looking for these more at the moment. I'm trying to teach the algorithm that what I want is genuine stuff, not the formulaic stuff. There's a lot of stuff. It's all formula. It's a formula, and I think that you can have a formula for what you do and it be genuine. And having a pattern to what you do is helpful as well in building a following. And people like to be comfortable with what they, you know, see and want to know what's going to happen and not be too surprised. You know, but you can go too far, and sometimes you find that there are a number of sites, or a number of, you know, creators, and that I start looking at a little bit cynically, because just bear with me a moment, I need to put another log on the fire. Yes, no jump cuts here. I mean, as an example of what I mean, we could look at debunking channels. Now, I recently, in this last week, not being so well, I've been, you know, binging on YouTube videos a bit. And so you've got these debunkers. I'm thinking of Thunderfoot, for example. And Thunderfoot takes a position of utterly wanting to debunk everything that Elon Musk does. I'm not the greatest fan of Elon Musk. Someone asked me why recently, and I countered with, what can you give me a reason to like Elon Musk? And that's, I think, is more of the point, isn't it? It's like we're all supposed to like Elon Musk, maybe less so recently, but exactly why? Anyway, I won't go into that right now. Thunderfoot, right, was debunking the Tesla truck, because that's just what the Thunderfoot does. you know. He just, anything Elon Musk does, he's right there. That's nonsense. And he starts doing all the mathematics and so on. But his channel is not aimed, I don't think, at people who will do these kinds of calculations for themselves. He's sort of doing it for them. So it's like ready-made, pre-packaged critical thinking. It's like a critical thinking package. You go to Thunderfoot's channel and you can have a pre-packaged, sterilized, pasteurized, and maybe not entirely reliable, but painted as though it is completely reliable package of absolute critical thinking. And I bought into that at first. And it was, I was going, yeah, wow. And I was looking at all the antics of Elon Musk, and I was going, according to Thunderfoot, and I'm going, oh my word, this is worse than I thought. And then then the video with his truck, the big trailer. So I'll come back to that in a moment. But as I was going around looking at this, and I was finding there were people who were countering him. And the funny thing is the people who counter him use the same kind of format. And there's a lot of, oh, look at him, isn't he stupid? Look what he said over there. And they're sort of flinging this at each other. And I started to get a little bit suspicious. Then it led me to a video that I was pointed at by some other person who had said something that was really, who had been completely obliterated by Thunderfoot. And I felt justifiably, right? Thunderfoot was saying stuff that made sense, basically, about someone who didn't make any sense. And then instead of countering my comment on that topic, just pointed at this other video. And this video is by somebody who was debunking Thunderfoot's debunk of the Tesla truck. And he was right. And Thunderfoot was wrong. And there's no doubt about it, because Thunderfoot cheated. What he did was he showed that, well, Tesla showed these two trucks going up a hill, a traditional truck and his truck, and it was carrying these motorway sort of barriers, right, or freeway barriers on there. And Thunderfoot made a calculation on how much that would weigh. And a big part of his video was how, when they did all of that and they did the math, it was not carrying any weight, any appreciable weight. It was, instead of looking for 20 tons, it was carrying like 5 tons or something. And I bought this video. I bought what he'd said. I consumed his ready-made critical thinking package. I consumed it. I was sold on what he said. And then I saw this other video. He pointed out, look, do the math. Now, I'll just point out that Thunderfoot is someone I've seen in his videos who comes across as very pompous, very arrogant, and keeps throwing about mathematics and his own research work and so on. He's supposedly, I say supposedly because I don't know what to believe anymore, a published scientist. There are many papers that are published. He does his best to try and push that forward. It may be that these are true too, but he uses them. I'm sure I'm not sure anymore, but he presents them to give, to hook his audience in. It's like, yes, I need to take this seriously. Oh, yes, but he's got published papers. Oh, yes. But there was a very basic error, such a stupid error, and the thing was, I should have been able to spot it, but I didn't. And the error was, he went to see what the weight of these barriers were, and basically Thunderfoot picked barriers that were half the size that they should have been, in spite of the fact that the figures of how long a trailer is, you could see it was like four. I think it was a stack of four long. It turns out, it's a 50-foot trailer. It turns out that they're 10-foot barriers, and Thunderfoot was using 6-foot barriers or something like that. And the huge difference. The 6-foot, they weigh 4 tons each. So they weigh 4 tons each, and you add it all up, and it was 20 tons total at least. It was absolutely fine. It was a fair comparison. What Tesla was showing between the two trucks was absolutely fair. But Thunderfoot, he said all of this, and if I had bought it stupidly, imagine all the people that he has that he bought it, all his insects coming to his flower. Oh yes, and what are they getting high on? They're all getting high on the idea that they're better than Elon Musk, isn't it? I mean that has to be the addictive nature of it. Isn't that the service that Thunderfoot provides? Come to my channel where I present to you some ready-made critical thinking, so that you don't have to do the thinking yourself. You can just trust me because I've got published papers. And when you do that, we can all have a laugh at Elon Musk, so that we can all feel superior to him. Come and join my party. There's something that I find very distasteful with this. I could live with that whole concept up to a point. And the point is when, in fact, it was a lie anyway. Or a lie or a mistake. Does it matter? So as I was looking at it, I realised something. All of these debunkers that are debunking each other, it's all a game. It's like WWF. I always use WWF because I had a stepson who was into WWF some 25 years ago or whatever. I remember, this is how I know about The Undertaker. He had that wrestling move where he would turn someone upside down like a tombstone and drop them on their head, And of course the whole thing is entirely fake, in the sense that it's all acted out. Everybody has their weaknesses and vulnerabilities, and it's played out as a drama. It wasn't a real sport. It didn't need to be, because all that mattered was that you had an audience that would go. And that is what I think has happened with the whole debunking thing. And now I'm wondering how far this goes throughout the whole of the creator network on YouTube. I'm very cynical, if you didn't know already. I actually think it's deliberate. I think Thunderfoot knew that there was a flaw in his mathematics, in what he was proposing. And because this is the thing that makes most sense. I mean, either that is the case, or he actually made a real genuine mistake. But as I've actually seen, from what I've seen, he doesn't seem to be, although this could be hearsay, he doesn't seem to be sort of that ready to admit mistakes. So my theory is, and it's just a theory, it's a concept, and I'm not aiming this exclusively at Thunderfoot. I'm using it as an example. I postulate, let me put it this way, that a creator of a channel that does debunking might well choose to deliberately leave an error so that it will get other debunkers riled up. And then they go for the jugular. And then what you have is a whole furore that comes from it that is like the crowd of WWF, because that drives the traffic to your YouTube channel, because you're doing YouTube channels with a purpose. And the purpose is popularity. Now, again, this might be unfair. I'm only going on the basis of what I see and what I feel. And I know I've used Thunderfoot as an example, and my apologies to Thunderfoot if this isn't true. But I'm pretty sure this is a game that consciously or unconsciously is being played out among creators on YouTube. I could look at other examples as well. It's just like where you look at it and you say, you can get straight from where you are to the conclusion. We can go there like that. It's so simple. But instead of just going like that, they take this big journey to get to the conclusion. This isn't always the case. There are many that are more, let's say, genuine. Anton Petrov, for example, his channel is, I like watching his channel. I don't always follow everything on there because it's often about astrophysics and so on. I'm not that knowledgeable about that topic. But very genuine thing, and there's no finger pointing, there's no saying this person is wrong, or this is a silly point of view, or this person is being stupid. I think there's the warning sign. If you've got a creator that is going into that kind of game, they're the ones who start pointing the finger. And I think that's something to think about. So I'm slowly weeding those. I'm trying to teach the algorithm. I'm not interested in those anymore. So I'm not watching any Thunderfoot channels anymore, any Thunderfoot videos anymore, because I can't trust that as to an objective, to get objective information on Elon Musk's project. I can't go to Thunderfoot because I cannot trust Thunderfoot anymore because of what happened with that. There's other stuff. I then followed the stories in there a bit and so on, and it's just like, toxicity everywhere. But I guess the reason they make their videos in that domain, we're talking about popular. He's popular, right? So it becomes like a job, doesn't it? So everything the Thunderfoot does has a purpose, but probably the purpose is less about the debunking now and more about building and maintaining and monetizing his audience, which is not unreasonable and not unfair because it happens all the time. I mean, show me where this does not become a concern and something becomes big. It always does. It becomes, if you fast forward let's say for example I was to try and make build up my YouTube channel sticking to my principles. Would I be able to maintain my integrity when I had to choose between the integrity and engagement? I would like to think so. But then I have to understand that my channel is necessarily more pointless. You know, because if you are driving, if you are pushing for that engagement and looking to build up your followers on a YouTube channel to reach dizzy heights, then there is a point to what you do. And that is the point. The point is to build your audience. And I can't buy into that as a thing to do without there being an actual point. And I think that's the sincerity thing. It's to just be famous for the sake of being famous, or just to be successful for the sake of being successful. Ironically, to look for success or fame without a point. See, it's a bit paradoxical. It just doesn't feel right. It's like, what about being genuine and being sincere and making that the point? Like Mr. Carson's lab, and Fran, and Anton Petrov, and a bunch of others. Can't think of right now. But, you know, you will see that those ones who do maintain their integrity, it takes a lot longer to build something up. So anyway, from my point of view, I let myself get caught in that trap, in the sense of, what is the point of me putting out a video? What is the point of me making a single? It's not pointless. And I have to think back to the flower, because the flower doesn't go, oh, this is pointless. It just is. It just does its thing. You know, I want to get back into that mindset. And that means letting go. And letting go of what? I think in my case, there's I've always had a problem. I think we all have the challenges that, you know, life throws at us, and I think I had in my early years a thing where I was rarely taken seriously, and so I was always, I know, you know, I catch myself being motivated to be creative, to show off, but not because I wanted to show off, but because I wanted to be taken seriously, which is slightly different from showing off. And the problem with that is that it's something that it's then going to hold you back. I think it held me back, because it means that any creative activity that I engage in had a point. It was pointed. And that would be my big weakness. If I'm able to create something from a space where there is no point to it, I generally fare a lot better, or get better results. And I don't think I'm alone with that. Sorry, I've got to blow my nose. I have a bit of a sniff. I've got no, it's when I made Kickoff, I did it in that space. There was no internet. I couldn't stream development of it. I did it by myself on my own steam without any advance from a publisher. And I worked on it in that space as a pointless exercise. I knew the game might get published or might not get published. Who knows? But I was true to myself. I used the skills that I had, and I did it in that space. It was so much more difficult as the game became successful, and I started doing the development. But now there was a point to it. And then when there was the antagonism that came from the press about my game and the whole thing with sensible soccer and so on, then this amplified that, didn't it? I mean, it just means that there was more of a point, and now I've got something to prove. I have to prove something. Always having to prove something. And that would be my weakness, as being someone who's always having to try to prove something. Now, it doesn't mean that there's no value in trying to prove things. I think there is value in trying to prove things, absolutely. It didn't diminish my ability to solve problems, did not reduce my talents in various things that I can do. But it's the wrong place to be creative from, I think, ultimately. The right space for this to come from, if it's going to be pure, has to be from a space of where it doesn't matter. And this is reflected in my experiments with YouTube over the years. It's funny, it's like everything I've done in social media, it's something often comes along and blocks it. So it's like with YouTube, YouNow, right? I had 1,000 YouNow videos, and they deleted them all because they went through and did a purge without telling us or warning us, and all this footage, thousands, 1,000 hours of footage is all lost forever, because they deleted them. It was really annoying. But what they did was they had this gamification on performers, right, in their ecosystem. And I was doing really well in that. So that I had a shot of being top of the charts on YouNow. So what they did, they cancelled the charts. I'm not saying they did that because of me, but it's like, come on, give me a break. But again, it's like, it's the wrong reason. I'm vaguely interested in the number of people who follow my channel. Yes, I would like to. It would be nice if I could get my channel to the point where the 4,000 watch hours in there. It's not saying, something to sort of be good to do that, just as something to aim for, as it doesn't hurt. But I can't criticize every video I do or analyze the watch statistics or see the depressing curves fall off, and I find out that my videos receive 100 views and only 3 people have watched the video to the end. That's really depressing when you start looking at that. So I'm trying to get my head into the state of mind where none of it matters, because then you can really dedicate yourself to it. I don't think I'm alone. But that's why I've been very sporadic, I want to try, and Well, we moved to a new house in February, and I'm slowly getting things together. So I have things planned, but I've got to try and figure out a comfortable way of doing videos. You know, this is quite comfortable. Maybe I need to find a spot in the house where I can do, and we'll have the intellectual armchair, and I'll talk because I do like talking. Maybe that's enough. You see, I just talk. I'm talking to myself, really. And it's a way. This YouTube is great because it's a way that you could talk to yourself and not be considered to be going, insane. But I don't know. So what have I got planned? Maybe I'll save that for another video and put that in. Stick this at the end of 46 minutes of rambling. But if you have got to this, if you've got to this point in the video, right, I'm going to share with you some ideas that I have. I fancy myself as a problem solver. So one of the ideas that I have is to invite people. This is the flower opening in the middle of the desert where there are no insects at all. It feels that way, but that's it. Never mind. We'll just do it anyway. I fancy myself as a bit of a problem solver. I think I can help people solve their problems. So if you've got to this point and you have a problem you would like some help with solving, why don't you send me a message? How? Right, well, you can just shoot me an email. The email address is dndn1011@gmail.com, and send me your problem, and then I can look at solving your problem and maybe do a YouTube video about it. And we can have it can be done discreetly as well if you don't want to have your identity revealed. That's one of many ideas. So I just throw that in there. I won't hold my breath, but you never know. Someone might. Another thing, if you've got to this part of the video this long, I'm looking for potential collaborators to help kick off revival and advance some other projects that I just don't have time, because I need to devote. The music project that I have, it involves doing what I've been doing with my singles, right? With every song I've written, and I've got something like 70 songs to get through, so it's going to take a while. But maybe the time is right for some kind of collaboration. So if you're a software developer and you're interested in collaborating with me, there was my email address. I actually had someone do that from the live stream that I did yesterday. So how about that? I've got it in mind to do some live music. I've been practicing my instruments a lot. I've been teaching myself to sight read, which I suffer from a handicap because of the way I was introduced to music at school, and it left lasting damage in my ability to deal with sheet music. But I'm beginning to get progress on there, and that's advancing my musical skills. So I want to try and figure out how to weave that together. I've got a work office, well, sort of, it's not a garage, but whatever. It's a sort of workspace, that's what I'm looking for, where I want to be doing some electronic projects. So I've got a ton of stuff that I want to push forward on. And I just have to have faith in the idea that, I need to just do it, right? And not worry about the outcome, but do it. And what will be, will be. Because I know that's the best way to do stuff and the best way to be creative. So we'll see whether or not I succeed in this battle. Anyway, I am beginning to lose my voice now. As I had a 50-minute video. We'll see. I've got to watch it now and decide whether or not to post it. So anyway, take care, everybody. And if I don't see you before the beginning of 2023, have a sincere new year. It rhymes as well. That's handy. Take care. Bye.